actual Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you would be the greatest player ever. For me personally, I use
Play
it to rob
poker.
rich people in poker. The bad part is that you have to rip your own eye out to actually even.
Anime Ice ranked by real
might have hit 150 likes. There were so
usefulness.
many requests for the Renegon and the Byakugan last video, so I'm gonna just start with those.
Probably should have done the one first, chat, huh?
That if you have the eye, you have the energy needed to use it. For example, chakra or cursed energy. The Renegon is one of the 3 great dojutsu, which consists of the Byakugan, the Renegon, and the Sharingan. The first thing you get is access to the 6 pass technique. So now you can attract and repel forces with the Diva pass, extract souls with the human pass, turn your body into a robot with the Asura pass, absorb chakra with the Prana pass, summon really big animals with the animal pack, and use this really freaky monster that needs to get that yam off his face. Now you could use all these abilities in your own body, or you could use the 7 technique called the outer pack to bring 6 dead bodies back to life and use one ability through each of them. But I'm not
Wait, that'd be
finished.
crazy.
You can also see what each of the paths see simultaneously, so you could unironically be 7 places at one time. You can also bring anyone you want back to life as long as they still have a body, but you might like die or something. Depending on who gets it, the world could get 1,000 times better or 1,000 times worse very quickly. Gunshots are doing nothing to Almighty Push. The police are doing nothing to Almighty Push. We all got that one friend that's always lying. Just put your hand on their head and you can read their mind. You could also just yank out their soul, but want a pet? Summon whatever this is with the animal pack. You wouldn't really be able to absorb anything, but there's still such a wide range of things you can do, like flying, instant regeneration, and it also evolves into the Ren and Sharingan. Well, not really. You need to find the 10-tail somewhere, but if you did,
useful in real life.
may not be able to fly up to the moon and trap the world in a dream state where everyone is a slave to you forever. Even though you can't get the Ren and Sharingan, the Renegon alone is already an easy S+ tier. But they would be very creepy. The Byakugan, which I didn't want to bring up because of comments like this, lets you see almost 360 vision with only one blind spot at the back of your neck. On top of seeing all your surroundings, your vision goes through any object, so you can see through walls, floors,
I guess that's kind of useful, but the other one is just crazy.
This is one of the most useful things so far. Just imagine how easy it would be for these 2 YouTubers to spot the nearest kid. If you focus your vision, you can expand your reach depending on how much you train. For example, in part 1, Neji could see up to 50 meters, and in Shippuden, he could expand it to around 800 meters. If all that wasn't good enough, you can also examine people's bodies just by looking at them. And Naruto lets you see the flow of chakra circulating through the chakra pathway system, which in real life would equate to seeing the flow and body
that's kind of cool though.
For a doctor, this would make things so much easier. Like, you'd be able to diagnose people with little to no effort. Except this guy, he wasn't thinking about the doctor part of it. The only bad thing about his eyes, when you use it, veins pop out of your face, which looks really cool in anime, but in real life it would just be kind of weird. A tier. The Scarlet Eyes from Hunter x Hunter.
That guy just
glow red when you get mad.
That guy commenting is just a menace, bro.
That's about it. Is what I would say if they weren't worth almost $18 million. The eyes of the Kurta clan are treated like rare jewels, which is why people value it so high. I don't know about y'all, but I don't think 18 million is enough to walk around like Nick Fury for the rest of my life. So C tier. Speaking of glowing eyes, remember this? But compared to the other eyes on this list, D tier. Yeah, so I was kinda wrong. A lot of y'all in the comments told me that Gojo's eyes speeds up his ability to process information, basically making his brain a supercomputer. In real life, this would equate to learning anything you want tens to hundreds of times faster than
AI
a person.
incoming.
And this applies to anything like sports, muscle memory, and academics. For example, if you tried hard enough, you could go from a complete beginner to being completely fluent in a language in 1 to 2 months. I also said you wouldn't be able to see the flow of cursed energy, but it stated that cursed energy comes from negative emotions such as grief and anger, and that there's a lot more in areas associated
still
with
not
stress.
S tier
though. If there's a cursed spirits in real life, you'd still be able to see cursed energy coming from people who are having negative emotions, and see lots in places like graveyards, diddy parties. See, this is I also forgot one of the most obvious things, which is how shiny and perfectly blue they are. If I had these, I'm looking at everyone like that one light-skinned TikTok guy. In addition to the enhanced sight and perception, there's too much not to give these A tier. There's multiple eyes in the Shogun Tensei, but I'm gonna be talking about the one that was given to Drake. I mean, Rudius. Sixth Eye gives him the power to see movements about 5 seconds into the future, but after he trained his mana, he was able to see about 10 seconds into the future reliably. Most of us in real life don't fight on a day-to-day basis, but it would still be really useful, for example, games like rock, paper, scissors, shadow boxing, and maybe Fortnite, so I can see myself getting 200 pump knowing there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. Even though they're basically just certain Eyes Eye, but like 1,000 times worse, it's still good enough to be D tier. Speaking of seeing into the future, Akashi's Emperor Eye from Kuroko no Basket is very similar, but not in the way that most people think. It's kind of like the Byakugan in the sense that it lets you examine people's bodies with extreme detail, like their muscle movements and breathing, essentially letting you see their weaknesses. It's also like the Sharingan because it lets you predict movements before they happen, so it's not exactly seeing the future, but it's pretty close. The best part about it is that it has no downside, and that when you get in a flow state or basically really focused doing something, your predictions get even better and you can predict even farther than before. Now I might be the only one that noticed this, But why is he using these on basketball? That's like the least effective way he could be using it. Being a boxer with this eye would make way more sense because you can see their muscle movements and their weak points. Or even something like a tennis or soccer player. Wait, that's also blue lock. I said that last video. Regardless, no matter which one you pick, you'd easily become one of, if not the greatest at any of them. So for that,
but it doesn't even have to be sports though.
The eye from Charlotte lets you take over the body of anybody in your line of sight for 5 seconds. In the show, it also lets him take the abilities of whoever he controls. But just like Aizawa, you wouldn't really be able to use it. Except take his ability to make the weirdest videos I've ever seen. There are bad sides though. First of all, when you take control of someone, your body just falls over, so it's really obvious whenever you use it. Second of all, you feel the same pain the person you're controlling feels, so don't let them get hurt. Honestly, I feel like those aren't really bad because the positives definitely outweigh the negatives. Surprisingly, a lot of the ways you use it in the show are pretty accurate, like seeing what people look at, making someone give you something, and it's even better that it doesn't have a cooldown or take energy and you could just spin it. In the show, he lost more of his memories for every ability he took, but since you won't be able to take them, that doesn't really apply to you, so B tier. The Millennium Eye from Yu-Gi-Oh would be one of the greatest things ever, but it would kind of hurt. It lets you see and read people's minds, which I think it goes without saying how good this would be. Also, since it lets you see people's cards, if you have actual Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you would be the greatest player ever. But me personally, I'd use it to rob rich people in poker. The bad part is that you have to rip your own eye out to actually even put it in. Easiest A tier in my life. All right, this is the part of the video where we take all the other eyes we talked about so far and throw them out the window.
Are we going super S tier? Oh, OP S tier, huh?
The magic eye of chaotic destruction makes everything we just talked about irrelevant. I would start listing out strengths and weaknesses, but that wouldn't really matter since your strengths are your weaknesses. If that didn't make sense, good. This is the same anime where the guy named himself as a baby. I'm not gonna sit here and explain every ability he has because then I'd have to name the video. This is what happens when you just start writing anything. Instead, I'm gonna just name a few, starting with law manipulation. Newton's law of universal gravitation says that every particle attracts every blah 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 blah. See, that was a test. None of that matters. If you think gravity is mid, womp womp. Too bad. Guess we're floating now. 2 + 2 is 4, right? It's actually 10 because now 2 = 5. Ooh, another good one, which is kind of on the weaker side, we have reality warping. So anything that happened in the past, you can just
what is reality warping?
Would have just went on as
change
if nothing
everything
happened. Like this dude literally died, came back and said, did you really think that killing me would be enough to make me die? He also has information manipulation, meaning he can control, alter.
Oh, I died. Did you think that'll be enough to kill me?
And even destroy information from the universe, or changing what a specific person knows. Basically mind manipulation. At this point, you can literally change anything, bro. For example, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, right? See, this is where my hating tendency started to come in. The Chiefs never existed. Frieren isn't one on my end.
Just
Taylor
erase them.
Being mid. Dr. Disrespect never used Twitch chat, and Corey Kenshin finally has a consistent YouTube schedule. I was gonna start listing off some more stuff like invulnerability, probability manipulation, so you always win, teleportation, telepathy, but then I was
that's just like super OP.
You can't do when you can make yourself able to do stuff that you can't do. If you have
what's
this
above
eye,
S
basically
tier?
The world. If you wanted the sky to be red, then it's GG's. The sky's red. The ability to destroy logic is enough to make you able to do literally anything in the real world. If you haven't noticed already, S++, bro, no matter how many pluses I put on it, S tier wouldn't be enough for this, bro. Like, how can you rate something that can literally change what the meaning of a rating is? See, you can't even answer that, but we can.
What if you do like S++ tier versus S++ tier? Like, who wins?
Subscribe and join the Discord because I love meeting y'all.